Hey gang Zippo! It's dark out. So this is an update on Clifford. Posted a help me sometime back thinking that I had a ground fault on Clifford. Had an electrical issue going on. Well, I checked all my grounds, went through all my grounds, did all the suggestions everybody handed me. To no avail. Nothing was working. Frustrated. So I decided, alright, let's backtrack, give it another little, hang on, sorry, give it another little go around. Found out I did not have a ground fault. I had a really good strong ground everywhere, no issues. So pulled out my voltage tester, my voltmeter, and I had a full 12.3 on the battery, 12.3 on everything under the hood. Everything checked out. Got into the fuse block. I had a 1.3 volt drop down to 11 volts at the fuse block underneath the dash. Oh no, yeah, over there, fuse panel. But anyway, short story long, I was hell-bent today on figuring out what in the world was going on with Clifford. Clifford likes Diet Coke too. So started tackling things again. Came over to, let me get around the other, well no, I could probably do it this way. Let's see here. Alright. They're right there where that junction block is. Took that out, pulled it apart, checked all the contacts, made sure that everything was copacetic there. Everything was good there. No problems. So, then that turned my attention to the other wiring harness entering into the passenger compartment, which is hard to see here. Okay, well, you can see this bundle of wires right here where the shadow is. That bundle of wires right there. Bundle of wires goes through the firewall right there, okay? And so that's behind the glove box inside the engine compartment. A little bit below, but that's where it goes in. So I got in there and I pulled all of those connectors, push all those connectors back together. Still, same thing. 11 volts inside, regular battery voltage outside. So kept scratching my head, and I had already gone through this junction block here, and everything tested just fine. It was 12, whatever the battery was, 12.3 straight across the board, no issues, no problems. So I gave it no thought. Now this was previously. Today I went through that again just to make sure, and this time I only had 11 volts at this junction block. Now, each one sends power to a different component, alright, and this is all 12 volt positives up here. This is the feed. This gives you your 12 volts to the rest of these leads on the junction block, okay? So, let's see if we can get in kind of close here to that first one. That's the one that feeds into the rest of this junction block here. Since this one feeds into it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab a wrench and I'm going to loosen all these guys. Let me pan back up. I'm going to loosen all these guys. Well, they were all just barely tight. And when I say barely tight, I mean tight enough that I couldn't loosen them with my fingers, but if I had just a fingertip ratchet, they would have all come loose. So went through a little bit of dielectric grease on each one of them and checked each one of them to make sure that they had their continuity that they needed and that everything was copacetic with them, and it was. But this is where my drop was. Now, my drop was not here before. I had my full battery power previously. So thank goodness I revisited this, because this wound up being where I was losing my 1.3 to 1.6 volts going into the cab, into the fuse block. Now let's zoom back in here. If you look at this rubberized shrink tube here, you can see here, nice and clean and black above there. That's because I cut it away. Now if you look at the rest of these, they're all short. Let me pan back out a little bit. They're all short. No way for the connector and the insulation to get pinched underneath the nut. Now this is the feed, the 12 volt feed coming from battery. That insulation was halfway across the top, and it was assembled that way at the factory. This thing had been arcing across for 23 years. 23 years! And it was a problem that went undiscovered. So you can see right there where it had been arcing. I took and scraped all the black off of there, cleaned it all up, tightened that back down, a little bit of dielectric grease, put everything back together, and boom, 12.3 volts all the way across, just what I needed. So then I went back into the fuse block in the passenger compartment. Yes, 12.3 volts to the fuse block. So I thought, I think I finally found it. Something else that was going on was when I would crank the starter over, since it's such a high amperage draw, that was causing this post to just arc like crazy and make a really hard, strong arcing sound, just like you would hear with an arc welder, with a stick welder. The ticking, tick, 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 tick. So when I would start Clifford, that's what you heard. And I thought, well, maybe it's something with the starter. Maybe I should switch starters out. Maybe something's going on there. Well, fortunately, I decided to come back and revisit this. Turned out to be that. That has gone completely away. There is no longer the arcing going on while cranking over. Running a ton better. It was running good before, but it's running a lot smoother now. My alternator gauge on the dash, volt gauge, has gone up to where Old Blues is, which is up around 14 volts, whereas before it was hovering just above 12, because it was throwing it. It was throwing low voltage here, so of course it was throwing low voltage to the dash. No more problem with turning the headlights on and having the stereo kick out. No more pulsating headlights, no more pulsating interior dome and dash lights. Turn the turn signal on, my speedometer didn't jump around anymore. Everything is right with the world now. So I don't know what the chances would be that somebody else out there is going to have this same problem. So I guess my only advice to you would be is to be persistent with a problem like this, and make sure that you go through, and even if you are you're doing a double redundant and checking things twice, check it twice, because it turned out that checking it twice is what helped me to find what the problem was with Clifford, with its electrical issue, with the electrical drop that I was getting. Finding that it was a positive issue and not a negative issue was what brought me to going back and attacking the positive side of the electrical system on Clifford. But ultimately, keep at it is all I can say. This is one that nobody could have predicted, I don't think. You know, who would have thought that a hard connection like this, just a simple hard connection, would be what caused all those electrical issues with Clifford. But like I say, Clifford is right as rain now. I'll go ahead and throw the key in, and let me get the relay and whatnot cover off. We'll set it right over here on Calamity Jane. There you go, sweet pea. Alright. We'll go ahead and fire up, and you can hear we no longer have that detonation sound, the electrical clicking detonation sound. Looky, my neighbors gave me cake. Just got back from eating dinner down the road. Okay, take a listen. We'll let that beep stop first. You see the voltmeter there? Right up at 14 volts. It was hovering down a little bit lower than that before, and I'm going to hit the hazards on. We'll get it over here on the stereo so that you can see that we do not lose any kind of power, no power drop at all, and no flashing of the interior dome lights, nothing. Then we'll hit the headlights here. Let me get back over here to the stereo, hit the headlights. Headlights are on, headlights are off, no voltage drop, stereo stays on, no pulsing on the lights, interior lights, like I had before, no pulsing on the headlights. Everything is just right as rain, right back where it should have been to begin with. And to think this is a problem that has been existing on this truck for 23 years and it went undiagnosed. It just kind of mind-boggling, but I do want to thank everybody that offered their assistance with me for this. They helped me go through and check a number of things. I certainly appreciate all of the help that I got. It turned out that it was one of those unpredictable issues, but we wound up getting it. All is right with the world. Planets have aligned, clouds have parted, and it's all good. So that's it. It's getting late. This is Zippo. Going in and getting my easy chair and watching me some tube. Later. Again, thank all of you very, very much for all of your suggestions. I'm out.